has been receiving total parental nutrition since then. Examination shows right upper quadrant tenderness on each palpation. Initial laboratory studies shows moderate leukocytosis with normal hepatic transmers. Amylase and lipase levels, abdominal ultrasound showed gallstones and edema of gallbladder wall.
Okay. So any terminologies which you don't understand in this scenario? Anything which, yeah? Transaminase. So these are liver enzymes. So you have ALT and AST, which shows that the liver function test is normal because you have the liver enzymes normal. So even though the right hypochondriac pain is there, there is no inflammation of the liver here. Okay? Any other question? Yes, go ahead. So when you are unable to eat, through the oral route, you can be given, a parental nutrition from the IV or from the other sources. Okay? So when you are not basically taking oral route, you are given nutrition through the parental route. So that is what is parental nutrition is. Yes. Any other question? Okay. So first question, answer the first question. Group 1.
Describe the synthesis, secretion, and circulation of bile salts. So it starts in the hepatocytes with the cholesterol molecule. It gets alpha hydroxylation by alpha hydroxylase, then gets conjugated by taurine or glycine, then secreted into the canal liquid.
Okay. So you have conjugated, unconjugated bile acids, then they get conjugated with glycine and taurine, and then because they are polar, the conjugated bile acids, they can combine with sodium and others, so to become bile salts. Because initially you have unconjugated bile acids, they get conjugated, and then they are, because they become polar, once they get conjugated, they can combine with sodium, and they become bile salts, and then they are secreted into the bile caniculi. Once they are in the bile caniculi, then what happens?
They go into the biliary apparatus. They get secreted into the duodenum. Then in the ileum, they get deconjugated by the bacteria there.
Okay.
And then get reabsorbed, and
taken back to the. So how much we synthesize?
We synthesize 600 milliliters of bile.
600 milligrams of bile acids.
Bile acids, and the same gets
excreted. So same get excreted. So we need to make up 600 milligram every cycle, because if we don't make up 600 milligram daily, we are short of it. Or if we don't reabsorb, from the ileum, we are short of the bile acid pool. Okay? So we need to absorb. We absorb about 90% of it again. And the only 600 milligram which we daily produce are going to be excreted. So we keep on absorbing from the ileum. That is very important. Okay? Clear? So outline the main pathway in the formation of gallstones. So what is the main pathogenesis in the formation of gallstones?
First, the concentration of the cholesterol needs to be more than the measles. After that,
if you have more cholesterol, then you would have crystallization also. So what are the three major components in the bile, which are there? One is the bile salts, the other is the phospholipids, and the third one is the cholesterol. So why don't we normally have gallstones?
Because the concentration of measles normally is more than the cholesterol, so it can emulsify it continue.
Okay. So the major action of the bile salts is to keep the cholesterol solubilized. And the phospholipids are there to help the cholesterol in the vesicular form. So they form vesicles around the cholesterol. But if you have the concentration of bile salts and the phospholipids going down and cholesterol going up, then it is going to cause the crystallization of cholesterol, which forms the nidus, and around which the cholesterol stones are formed. So the main mechanism is that you have either excessive cholesterol or you have low levels of bile salts and phospholipid, which results in crystallization of cholesterol, forming the nidus around which the stone formation happens. Clear? Everybody is clear with this concept? Because this is the main mechanism, and that's why you would see that in patients around 40 years old, females, fertile, fatty, who have high cholesterol levels, they are the ones which are much more prone to cholesterol stone formation. Okay? Clear? Next group. Group number 2. Can you read the question?
List the 3 types of gallstones and its major constituents.
Yes.
So first you have cholesterol gallstones, then you mainly cholesterol, then you have pigmented gallstone with bilirubin, then you can have a mix.
So what is the mechanism? We have talked about cholesterol gallstones. What is the mechanism of formation of the bilirubin gallstones? When do you would find the bilirubin gallstones formed?
Maybe your bilirubin won't get conjugated, and then it would be present in the bile, so it would precipitate somehow.
So
it's insoluble.
So when you would get more of bilirubin in the bile?
More bilirubin in the bile.
So from where the bilirubin comes?
From your hemoglobin originally,
So
then gets transported to the bile.
So if from the hemoglobin, so if you have excessive hemolysis, you would have excessive amount of bilirubin, and then you would have excessive amount of bilirubin going into the bile. So bilirubin gallstones usually occur with hemolytic anemias. When you have hemolytic anemias like thalassemia, like glucose 6-phosphate deficiency, spherocytosis, eleptocytosis, those type of anemias where either the shape of the RBCs is bad, or there are enzyme deficiencies, which leads to a lot of hemolysis of RBCs. It leads to excessive amount of bilirubin, and that causes the bilirubin type of, or the black stones. If you see the black stones in gallbladder, this is the bilirubin stones, and these bilirubin stones are because of excessive hemolysis of RBCs. Okay? Okay, next question.
Give reasons why this patient developed gallstones.
Okay.
So what he wrote was he's suffering from ileal resection, using a lot of bile salt. So his liver synthesis is insufficient. As a result, the bile salt level in the gallbladder would decrease. Lithogenic bile would be produced. As a result, cholesterol would get crystallized.
Okay. So do you understand what he's saying? He's saying that because of the bowel resection, you are unable to absorb the bile salts. And because you are unable to absorb the bile salts, the amount of total bile salt pool is going to decrease. And as a result, your cholesterol level in the bile would be higher than the bile salt. So the cholesterol is going to crystallize and give rise to the gallstones. The other reason, which could be not the hemolysis, you see that this guy is on parenteral nutrition. So he's not taking anything orally. Okay? So if he's not taking anything orally, the fats which are not going to stimulate the duodenum, because you have eye cells in the duodenum which are going to release what? CCK. And CCK is important in contraction of gallbladder. So there is stasis of bile within the gallbladder, which will cause more concentrated bile and more chances of gallstone production. Yes, go ahead.
So in total, how many reasons do we have?
2 reasons. One is the total pool of bile acids or bile salts is decreasing because you are not able to absorb. The other is that you are unable to contract the gallbladder because you are not taking anything by mouth. So if you are not taking anything by mouth, you are not stimulating the gallbladder to contract. So the bile is becoming much more concentrated, that results in the gallstone formation. Okay. Group number 3. Can you read the scenario for us, please?
A 38-year-old Asian woman comes to the office as a new patient due to intermittent abdominal pain and bloating since childhood. The patient does not drink milk because she does not like the taste and adds eating ice cream, yogurt, and cheese upsets my stomach. The physical examination is unremarkable. The patient is referred for upper gastrointestinal endoscopy and biopsy.
Okay. Any terms which you don't understand? Anything which you don't? Yes. Intermittent, on and off. Okay. Intermittent fasting, intermittent, it's on and off. Okay. Anything else? Okay. So, first question, describe the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates.
Basically, the digestion starts from the mouth through the salivary amylase,
Okay.
then through the pancreatic amylase, and the absorption happens in two ways: the brush border absorption and the luminal absorption.
Okay. So amylase is going to break down which type of carbs? You only have amylase which are important in carb digestion, or you have other enzymes also?
You have other enzymes.
So amylase is for breaking down big carbs.
Yeah.
Polysaccharide chains, the big ones. But you also have disaccharides and you have monosaccharides and you have disaccharides. So how they are digested? Do you absorb anything? Do you absorb polysaccharides from the brush border?
No.
What do you absorb from the brush border?
Disaccharides? Monosaccharides. Yeah.
Which is either glucose, galactose, lactose is a monosaccharide? Disaccharide. Okay. So you need to go back and see, your lecture on digestion and absorption of carbs. See, where the digestion starts. Usually what you are absorbing is a monosaccharide, which is glucose. So you need to break down the large polysaccharide chain into small one by the amylase, and then when you reach the brush border, you have these disaccharidases like lactase, which are going to break down the disaccharides into monosaccharides like glucose and lactose. So those type of enzymes are there on the brush border of the intestine. So you need amylases, salivary and pancreatic, to break down large polysaccharide chains, and then you need disaccharidases, which are present on the brush border to divide the disaccharides into monosaccharides, and then you are able to absorb these monosaccharides through the intestinal, luminal, and the brush border. Okay. Somebody describe the histology of the small intestine.
It's basically mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, and
Adventitia. Okay. And what is there in the mucosa? You see these long finger-like things in the mucosa? The villi. And then you have these, crypts of Limburkin.
Yeah, the khanda.
You have villi and you have the crypts of Limburkin, which are there in the
glands.
And the glands. So, what are there? Why do you have villi in the mucosa?
For absorption.
To increase the surface area for absorption. And what do you have on these enterocytes? Can you describe these enterocytes? What is the structure of the enterocytes?
Well, the structure, I can't, but the function, well, it's microvilli, but its function is absorption.
Can somebody wants to describe the histology of the small intestine? Anybody? Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to start from the side of the lumen. So first of all, we have the microvilli, which increase surface area for absorption. And then we have the villi. And then after the villi, we have the epithelium. We need to also know what type of epithelium, so it's simple columnar epithelium. And then we have the connective tissue, which is the lamina propria. And then we have, after the lamina propria, we have muscle. After we have the muscularis internal muscles, and then we have another type of connective tissue, which is called the submucosa. In the small intestines, there's something special about the submucosa. The submucosa will form the folds, which are the pulcae circularis. The pulcae circularis will form these deep dents, and the bottom of each dent we have the crypts of lubricant, and these crypts act as protection for the small intestines. And then after the submucosa, we have another layer of muscles, which are the muscularis externa. They're formed of internal circular and external longitudinal, and they contain the myenteric plexus. And then at the end we have the adventia, which is another type of connective tissue. And we also need to understand that the pulcae circularis, which is the submucosal folds, are the ones that increase the surface area inside the small intestines. We also need to understand in the small intestines, the pulcae circularis is present in almost throughout the small intestines, except at the beginning or the proximal section of the duodenum. It's only smooth, and it contains Brunner's glands. And then we also need to understand that
Brunner glands too.
the Brunner's gland are to release mucus, and the reason to release mucus mainly is to protect the duodenum from the acidic chyme, and it's also for lubrication. And as you go through the small intestines, the number of goblet cells increases. So from the ileum to the jejunum, the number of goblet cells increases, and the pulcae circularis decreases.
Okay, and on the
Yeah,
enterocytes,
I forgot to mention that the ileum has a Peyer's patch. Yeah.
that is in the submucosa.
That's in the submucosa.
So on the enterocytes, can you tell us what type of enzymes are there on the surface of the enterocytes?
Okay, so there's three types of enzymes that are main enzymes we need to know. The first one is maltase, and the second one is isomaltase. The third one is lactase. And these are the three enzymes that are responsible for breaking down the disaccharides into monosaccharides. And then for each of these different types of enterocytes, there are specific protein carriers. For the glucose and the galactose, they have the same protein carrier, which is the sodium glucose carrier, and it is
Which one? GLUT4, GLUT5, which one is it?
GLUT4, I think, GLUT4. And for the fructose, it's different. It enters through different type of protein carrier, which is the GLUT5. And then once they enter the cell, they all go through the same protein carrier into through the basolateral membrane, which is GLUT1.
So how does the intestine absorbs the fat? The small intestine absorbs the fat.
So there's two ways to absorb the lipids inside the small intestine. First of all, we know that biliary secretion and bile, once it enters, they will form mixed micelles with the lipids, and these micelles will bind with the walls of the small intestine, and they will release the contents inside the small intestines. That's one of them. The second way is that
How it is going to be transported from the wall of the small intestine once the fat goes in, how it is going to be transported? Do you know about lectins? There are lectins within the villi.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay, that's good enough. Let's go to the next question.
Group number 4. Question number 7.
But you can imagine what we are looking here. So what you need to know in terms of the histology is to look at the surface of the enterocytes. Look at the enzymes which are there. Look at the transporters which are there. So people in physiology are more interested to ask you about the transporters. They are going to ask you about the brush border enzymes and what is their function of these enzymes. Because you will see in this disease also one of the enzymes which is there on the brush border is basically affected. Yeah, go ahead.
Give reason why this patient has stomach upsets after eating dairy products.
Okay.
So from the clinical scenario, I think it's clear that he could have lactase deficiency, so lactose intolerance.
So why he's having abdominal pain, bloating, all these type of things?
He doesn't have lactase, so lactose will move to the large intestines. The bacteria will digest it there.
Bacteria will digest or what do?
Fermented.
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 So when fermentation would happen, what would happen?
Production of gases, hydrogen.
Gases.
So this causes bloating, which pushes on the abdomen, which can be translated into pain.
Okay. Good. Next question. Yes.
Which test can be performed to diagnose this condition and what?
Fermentation is when sugars are acted by the bacteria, they are going to produce gas. So when sugars are fermented, they are going to. How would I explain fermentation? Do you have a better term to explain fermentation? So when the bacteria act on the sugars, it is going to break down the sugars into gas and alcohol, something like that. So that gas which is produced is going to cause bloating. Yes, which tests can be performed to diagnose this condition? What is the principle of these tests?
So it's called the hydrogen breath test.
Okay.
The patient is fed with lactose, and then after some time, the breath of the patient.
After 15 minutes, you are asked him to blow into the
And if an abnormal or higher than normal amount of hydrogen was detected, then it can be deduced that he has lactose intolerance.
So why he's producing more hydrogen?
Because the lactose is broken down by bacteria, fermented by bacteria,
And
which produces hydrogen.